Hoy there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to Football Talks. We are at the penultimate video for finale, pre-finale of the season. The Pro Bowl has passed. The only things that are left are the NFL honors on Saturday and then the big one on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. I am joined by Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Oh my God! Hello!
Things are going to get good. We have a very busy, episode today. We have, let's see, I'm gonna talk a little Pro Bowl. Bill hasn't watched it, but I just want to mention some good things, especially from Hopkins, which we won't hear the last of him. We have a thing to announce for our segment, which we may or may not access it regularly, but who knows? I honestly I don't want to access it a lot, but today we have a opportunity to use it, so we're not going to waste it. And of course, we have our own NFL honors, where we give awards for various categories, some good, some bad, some you don't want to receive. But hey, we didn't do it. We didn't give it to you because we wanted to. You earned it yourself, right, Bill?
Exactly.
But anyway, I have to say this. We also have our final picks for this season. As things stand now, Bill, you have won. You destroyed me in the regular season picks, but in terms of postseason, you have a one-game edge over me because we both picked the last two games wrong. So if I get mine right, we tie. But just saying,
man.
Bill, you already won one. You could go double up on me depending on how the Super Bowl turns out. Not that it matters.
Right.
It's not like we placed anything to bet on here, but
This was just a for fun competition. Oh my God.
yeah. But Bill, some play for fun, others play for glory. Two stock, no items, final destination only.
I'll just put it this way. I'm glad that I don't pick like the NFL quote unquote experts do.
Yeah, Bill, I've had some situations where I picked more accurately than the experts. Sometimes I'll pick even worse, but sometimes, like we said these past couple weeks, you cannot predict games that well. You can try. I guess you can get away with regular season, but in playoffs for sure. Playoffs?
Playoffs?
You cannot predict how things go because you're going to be wrong. Dead on wrong. But alright, Bill. I think we shall get started. I'm going to talk Pro Bowl for a bit, and then we'll get on to the new segment. But for now, the Pro Bowl happened in Hawaii. There are so many players. The 136 total players got offered to go to the Pro Bowl because so many had to decline, or either injury-related news or they just didn't want to go.
Right.
But I will say it was okay, especially if you had a lot of your favorite players on Team Irvin like I did, because they absolutely ran the Team Rice out of the building. I'm talking. Look up the score. It was disgusting. I think it was like 48-21. It could have gone 50. It could have gone above 50, but I don't think things happened. I think a touchdown got overturned. But
They called for replay.
I'm surprised they even bothered.
Did they have the ridiculously stupidly small uprights?
No, I don't think they did this time because, if we didn't like them then, why would we like them now?
Oh man, I mean, those were comedic. That was a comedic thing last year that I had to see for my own two eyes just to see how stupid that was. But I'll put it this way: one of my Lions players was on Team Irvin as well, and
Good.
that was Ziggy Ansah.
Yeah.
And he went absolutely off and caused an interception. I do know that.
Yeah, you're actually right. You got that. Not just him, but Team Irvin just in general lit it up on all cylinders for both sides. Like, let's see. Like, for example, on Team Irvin or Team Rice, they had Derek Carr, Travis Kelce, and I want to say Richard Sherman, but on Team Irvin they had Russell Wilson, um, Jameis Winston, Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman, and of course, I have to mention Hopkins. Hopkins caught an amazing catch. He completely beat out Marcus Peters, and then he got one of the final touchdowns of the game. It was 49-27 is the final score, Bill. It almost went 50. Almost, but I think there was this tweet I saw from Geno Atkins that the NFL retweeted. It said, "We about to run Team Rice out of the building." That's pretty much what they did.
I mean, to be fair, really, they weren't really going to. They weren't going to really care one way or another. They get paid.
Yep. Jameis Winston threw a good a quick shot pass to Hopkins, who I would say was triple covered in that moment because it was like a triangle style of players, one in front of Hopkins and two lower between his left and right. I hope you can visualize that. There's replays out there for those who want to see, but just got it easy, and it was a bullet too. That's why they didn't have really a chance to react. Funny that I bring up react. Oh boy, but I won't bring that up here. Bill, I do want to get your opinion on that someday, but
recognize.
Yeah, dropped. Oh boy, but anyway, other than that, other things I'd like to mention. Derek Carr, he threw 2 interceptions. He did get a touchdown to Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce got 2 touchdowns. I like to call him Travis Kong because he likes to main Donkey Kong and Smash. So he got paid, and he's showing how happy he is to be paid by doing that in the Pro Bowl. Other than that, it was all Russell Wilson and all those wide receivers just picking apart Team Rice.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's a thing that happened.
Anyway, I think that's all worth mentioning. I'm glad Hopkins did what I wanted him to do. Just get a touchdown or get some big plays. He did what I hoped he did. That was all. Watt would have been there. If Watt were there, he would have I really would have wanted him to sack someone and do the surfboard thing again. I don't know if you remember that. It was very fun.
Oh yeah.
But anyway. Okay, so now, Bill, are you ready to move on to the next segment? A brand...
I am.
All right.
I'm not happy about moving on to it, but yes.
There are 3 players that are retiring this year, that we know of so far. A couple we know almost virtually guaranteed, but we can't say for certain unless they admit it. I'll get the one we're not going to talk about too much because I just found out about this now. Justin Tuck for the Oakland Raiders is also retiring. Bill, you mentioned he was also a New York Giant.
Yep.
At one point,
a disruptive force in winning 2 Super Bowls for the Giants against the New England Patriots.
Yep. And he's retiring just as things were getting good in Oakland, I would say. Because honestly, Bill, I thought I have 2 teams that could possibly break out. I know you think this one, but I'm just hesitant on this one because that's what people have been saying for 2 or 3 years now. The Jaguars, they are explosive on offense, but it's also that very same offense that becomes their Achilles heel, and their defense isn't good.
Oh, and the other thing about the Jaguars is that they throw the football in the red zone on the 1-yard line instead of running with T.J. Yeldon. But continue.
Yeah, that's another reason. They also make a lot of mistakes in the red zone, and that's what costs them points or prevents them from getting points rather than costing.
Yeah.
The other team I predict, the Raiders. Now they were close to trying to make a run into the playoffs, but it's still clear they weren't ready, especially because Derek Carr is just getting better as time moves along. But now they have another need. They need another player to complement Khalil Mack, because Khalil Mack will be great. He'll still be great, but I like the idea of having someone to complement him, like how J.J. Watt will have either Whitney Merciless or Jadeveon Clowney to complement him and take some pressure off of him, so they have to be careful about who's really going to be a bigger threat in particular plays. That's a very good. It's a very helpful thing. You like Bill. You can never have too much talent, right? There's no such thing as that, in
Right.
my opinion.
Right.
Hmm. But anyway, so he's going to go. But Bill, we have another player to mention that
Yeah.
we've heard about it, and now it's confirmed. He just needs to formally announce it. He just talked to Martha Ford and thanked her and and her family for everything that's been done. Who are we talking, Bill?
That is, of course, the Lions wide receiver Calvin Johnson. And I said last week I didn't think it was going to happen. Well, I was proven wrong, but I'm not overly surprised.
People are comparing
And
him to I say Bernie Sanders, Barry Sanders. Funny
yep,
Iowa
very
caucuses today. Go Bernie. Um, Feel the burn. But okay, some people are comparing him to Barry Sanders retiring early. Though, what? How old was Barry when he retired?
Barry was right around 31. 30,
Ooh.
31.
This is a bad
So,
trend in Detroit. Good things never last.
and here's the thing is over the past 2 years you saw injuries start stacking up on him, and he just he's I feel like he's one of those types that if he's not going to dominate the game anymore, he was going to give it up. And he probably saw the trend where he was going with the injuries. He's a tall guy. He's a 6'4", 6'5" guy. You know, he's all it takes is one knee injury and he's not the same player. And and to be fair, he was starting to lose his step. So might as well get out while the getting's good. And you were the most dominant wide receiver in the NFL.
Yep, and
But
now there's one downside to this, Bill. Another big downside. Everyone's gonna say, "Oh, with him gone, Odell Beckham, most dominant force in the league." I don't want to hear that shit. Fuck that.
well, I'll put it this way. And here's the thing: is that Kelvin Johnson retired on a high note for his career. And people are like, "Oh, why don't you go play for someone else?" Here's the issue with that: is that Kelvin doesn't seem like the type that he wants to go play for multiple teams. He seemed like a one-team
He's
guy.
not the only one on the
And
Lions, too, by the way. Remember, there's another player. I forget his name. Raheem Mathis, I think. It's one
oh,
of those defensive players, those
yeah,
cornerbacks or safety.
Rasheem Mathis.
Yeah, he says if I can't re-sign with the Lions, which well, considering how much money's going to be available now with Megatron retiring, I think he can very well re-sign.
I
If you
mean,
want to think about it from a money point of view now, which is very negative, then yeah, a bunch of other players who might have been out the door are now likely going to stay.
exactly, and I mean, overall, I feel like this might be unlike unlike the Barry Sanders thing. Wide receivers are a dime a dozen to get in the NFL.
That mean that
You
there's a
know,
lot of them?
look,
Easy.
yep, like a lot. Look at the Colts. They have T.Y. Hilton. They have uh, Dante Moncrief. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles. They have Jordan Matthews, Nelson Aguilar. Kansas City has Jeremy Maclin. There's a lot of good
I
receivers.
I
You
think the
just
well, I was gonna say the best example would be either Denver or New England. Denver has
yeah, look,
Denver has Demarius Thomas. Fun fact: his mom was actually there for that game that
yep.
they won. That was the first game she was able to watch Demarius Thomas play, thanks to the president. Thanks, Obama. But
Demari-
continue.
Demarius. They have Emmanuel Sanders. They have just an embarrassment of riches. What I'm saying is,
Too
I
bad they
think
don't have
the
a. Oh,
Lions.
oh, never mind. I was gonna take a shot at Peyton's age, but no, not now. Maybe if he loses to the Panthers. But
Right.
Demaryius
Uh,
Thomas can't find a quarterback now that's going to target him 10 times a game. But continue, Bill.
right. But overall, I think the Lions are in a good position.
Now here's the
And
question, Bill. I have a question for you. Remember, we've been saying they need a corner. Now, with Megatron getting out, all of a sudden, what do they need now? Because to me, their priorities before his retirement: cornerback, offensive tackle. That was really it.
I
Now
I
it's
still think that's it.
I think they need another wide receiver to replace him because I can't see Golden Tate can be the guy, but it's just there's a certain presence that Calvin always exudes that always put the best corners on him no matter what condition he was in. Because the
I
good
mean,
thing about Megatron, nobody took chances with him. They didn't say, "Oh, maybe he won't make a play." No, they will always put him up, and that left everyone else to be open. And of course, he'll still sometimes get plays over those great corners.
but I feel like here's the issue is I would rather build the team with a corner and a tackle and then get a wide receiver in the third round. Because even third round wide receivers develop into something. Not just first round guys develop into something. Third round guys do too. And you get a guy from a small college that's tall and can run fast and is hungry to be great.
I
And
really hope
there
you're
you
right.
go. You
Because Bill Houston has that current example right now with Jalen Strong.
exactly. And I mean, to be fair, obviously it's a huge loss in the present looking at the team. But in the end, will Detroit miss him next year? Yes. Will Detroit miss him in the future? Yes. But as a team, the whole team has to move on and have that Patriots mentality of next man up. When they lost Randy Moss, were they the same team? No, they were not. But they got other players and built their team a different way. Edelman, Amendola. They're not big, tall guys, but they're definitely possession receivers.
Yep, but Bill, I know you need to you were going to mention Calvin Johnson's some of Calvin Johnson's stats and how he's changed the team, or not the team, the
Okay.
city.
So,
But I think that'll be perfect to debut in the new segment, the Football Talks Hall of Fame. Basically, we're going to get players who have retired recently, like in here. We're not counting those who have been around who retired before. These are players now who are just retiring. So we have both of us each have one. Though really, Bill could recommend these two because he's known them way longer than me. But I will
right.
try to speak for the other guy as best as I can, and Bill will have to help
Yep.
me a little bit, especially elaborating on his past. Just not as detailed as before, but a bit of a synopsis.
Yeah.
But Bill, who goes first? Do you want to continue the Calvin Johnson story, or do you want me to transition to the other guy for a bit and then we come
Uh,
back to Megatron?
I feel like we should just finish the whole thought with Calvin and then go to transition to Charles. Uh,
All right.
okay, so
Spoiler alert.
uh,
All right, Bill, continue.
there's a lot of Charleses.
Yep. You can get started with the with his stats. I would like if you could save that how he's changed Detroit as a bit of a last thing cuz how
Oh yeah,
personal matters I think more than statistical.
and here we go. Kelvin Johnson is the Lions' all-time leading reception leader. He beat out Herman Moore's record at the age of 28. Okay, that by itself is a crazy statistic because Herman Moore played until he was 34, 35 with the Lions. Uh, he beat that before he was 28. So there's that. He's the all-time leading reception. He also broke Herman Moore's all-time yardage mark by the time he was 28, 29. Uh, he obviously leads the Detroit Lions in all-time touchdown receptions. He he is the best receiver in Lions history, bar none. And he did it in only 8, 9 years. Had he continued to go at the pace he was going, he would have set records in Detroit's history,
Now, I would
which
think
would
also
never be
franchise, or not just franchise history. I would think maybe some, I don't know about all, but maybe some records in all of the NFL.
right.
He set some
Had he
already.
kept going,
I can't name them.
yeah,
I think he set the most, some of the most, like the third most under 30, behind Randy Moss and I think Jerry Rice.
yep. A lot of Jerry Rice's records are really untouchable, but I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Try telling that to the Odell Beckham fans who are just on his dick harder than Aaron Rodgers fans are.
but
Sorry.
the next thing I really would like to just say is how he revolutionized the game. Obviously, we all know it's named after him. There's the Kelvin Johnson rule. It's going to be one of the most infamous things of all time in the history of the game. It's a stupid thing, and it's caused all sorts of havoc in the NFL,
Still
and it
does.
needs to go away.
Still does.
It still does, but he's the most dominant force the NFL had seen in a very long time. They were triple covering him with both safeties and a corner, and he was still catching the football. That's what makes those team records and those NFL records even more crazy. Is he was at a point the Lions' only weapon on offense.
There, you might
He
actually
was
have
there.
you might have a play to go to prove that triple coverage one. If I recall, a few years ago, there was a long shot throw that Matt Stafford threw to Megatron,
Yep.
triple covered by the Bengals. This was against the Bengals. I remember because of their uniform get up. Caught it in between them. This was like a Hail Mary style thing. You know, we should never say that in front of Detroit fans anymore. Can't.
No.
Oh God, but yeah, he caught it. I think that was the best example I can think of, Bill. People can look it up. It was, I think it was the play of the year when it came out. Like it was voted by fans and like people at the NFL as the play of the year.
Yep.
I think it
I
won.
mean,
What else you
I
got?
mean, he he just changed the game. He was a dominant force, and he was an athletic freak. There's not many guys as big as he was that could do what he did, and that's really what revolutionized the game because he was a different style wide receiver. He was a Randy Moss, but with the catch radius of freaking garage. You could just throw it in his general area, and he would probably come up with it.
Yeah. Well, Bill, do you?
You don't see many of those. You don't see many of those wide receivers anymore.
Oh, you don't. Well, another one may come about one day. But who knows when that'll be?
And then I want to touch on, he's just overall he's a great example of the city of Detroit. And what I'm saying is he was well respected and liked by everyone. He didn't show off after scoring touchdowns. He just, he would, maybe spike the football, maybe, but he would hand it to the ref and run to the sideline. He was a great beacon of a struggling city, and just, he exuded a sense of this city, and you know it's it's a nice thing to see that if he I always have respect for Barry Sanders and I have respect for Calvin Johnson because they don't want to leave, for one, and for two, he liked it here. He wanted to stay here constantly. This city loves its longtime residents. The Steve Eisermans of hockey, or the freaking Ben Wallaces of basketball, or Isaiah Thomas, or Joe Dumars. This city loves that sort of stuff and a blue collar work ethic, and he had it, and that's what this city loves, and he exuded it, and he set a really shining example of Detroit sports and why we love our our sports teams, and why even when 0-16 Lions are 0-16, why we still love this freaking team, even if they break our hearts constantly.
Well, Bill, I have a question. I don't think it's much of a question, more of a matter of when it'll happen. Do you think they're gonna retire his number? Because they better. If they don't, I will punch Detroit Lions, the Detroit Lions organization in the face. If they don't
I
have one, I'm gonna
I
make one appear.
I
What?
I personally think that they probably will. I feel like if he makes the Hall of Fame, they definitely will. You know,
Well, which will come
I
first? Sometimes teams
well,
retire jerseys before they get entered. Like Brett Favre, who's going to probably get entered this year,
oh,
he got his jersey retired already this season.
there's no doubt he's getting in this year, but that's a thing for a different time. I feel like give it about 3 or 4 years, just in case he does. Let's just say he gets the itch to play football again. He might come back. Just because he says he's done now doesn't mean that he's gonna be done forever.
I hope
You
he
know.
comes back when Detroit starts to show that they're a consistently good football team. With
I
Jim
mean,
Bob
he's
Cooter
still
at the helm,
30.
there's hope.
I mean, he's still 30, and he's still a young man. He can still come back and rest up a couple years and come back and play. He's just an athletic freak. You never know what's gonna happen. So I'm not off the train just yet. I know that once a player gets it into his mind that he's done, that most likely he's done, but sometimes you just get that itch to come back.
Yeah, I hope you're right, Bill. But I would like for him to return after a year or two, but there's only one way to find out. I'm thinking if Detroit shows sparks of being a Super Bowl contender, then yes, he might very well come back, and then they could be motivated to play for him and get him a ring. Because there are to me two wide receivers that deserve a ring. Larry Fitzgerald and Megatron. One's a postseason freak, especially as we saw 2 weeks ago. I'll never forget that play. That's for sure. and but Megatron deserves a ring. He's deserved one for so long. So I really want him to get one Super Bowl ring, so he can be no discussion, one of the best wide receivers ever. Because I don't want him to become like Charles Barkley, who was like the greatest that never won, a finals, NBA finals segment or trophy.
Right,
But
right.
all right, Bill. Is that anything else you want to know on Megatron, so I can move on to my person we're submitting to the Football Talks Hall of
To
Fame?
to be fair, nope. That is what I wanted to say about Megatron. You know, the city of Detroit will miss seeing him on the field, but we will move on, and we will see a winning team in the future.
I'm hoping so, Bill. I really do, because I'm getting tired of Detroit can't do anything good. I'm getting tired of that. I supported this team because I wanted them to get off the schneid and just upset the football world, which I know that would piss off Roger Goodell. But you know me, Bill. Nothing makes me happy to see Roger Goodell sad. It makes me
You know
happy.
what would
You know we
you
have
know
one
what
other
would be
thing to
sad?
talk. What? What?
Right before you get to this, it'll make for a perfect segue. Is the Las Vegas Raiders?
Oh, what?
I've heard there's rumblings that the Raiders might be trying to be. They've explored Las Vegas as a city to move to.
Oh, god damn it, no. Don't you fucking dare do it, Oakland. Don't you dare let them leave. I know they have the Warriors, but you know what? Good things don't last. This is a team that's been an Oakland staple much more than Golden State. You know what I mean? I don't want to see
Right.
it go. And plus, I like the silver and black in at California. I mean, I've told you, Bill, the Oakland Raiders have some of my favorite uniform designs in all of sports. I mean, they're right there with the Spurs. The difference is the Spurs use more silver and gray, whereas the Raiders do more black. Yeah, they have similar colors, I know, but yeah, Bill, I just realized we have one other thing to talk about, but we're talking about that after I mentioned my Hall of Fame candidate.
Okay.
It involves a certain quote unquote scandal. NFL doing it
Oh, that.
again. Yep. All right, Bill. It's time for me to nominate my guy. Charles Woodson of the Oakland Raiders won a ring with the Green Bay Packers. He was there for about, let's see, he was there from 2006 to 2012, then retired. Spent his last 3 years in Oakland. He didn't decide, oh, I'm gonna stick with the winning team and just and just hopefully try to win one more. Nah, I'm gonna retire with the team that chose me. Maybe help them. I'm glad he did. He chose wisely. I will tell you his final stats. In terms of tackles, he had over 1,000 combined. He had 20 sacks, which is uncommon for a cornerback, unless you're doing an all blitz or something. He's had 65 interceptions, and 11 of those were pick sixes. This guy was a force.
Yep.
In terms of fumbles, he's had, let's see, he's created three fumbles, I think, and one of them, no, two of them led to a touchdown. So that's one other thing to note. So he's had in total 13 touchdowns as a defensive player. Impressive. This season, his final season, 74 tackles. I don't know how many were for a loss. Um, one forced fumble and 5 interceptions. That's a nice stat to retire on, if you ask me.
Oh yeah.
Especially considering the ripe old age of 39. For well, football wise.
Oh yeah. And playing defense really, you know, those players on the defensive side take a severe beating throughout the year.
Oh. All right, Bill. So that's a statistical breakdown. Bill, I want you to highlight some of his other achievements. You've mentioned them before, but mention his college days a little bit.
His college days, he was a member of the national championship team of the Michigan Wolverines. He won the Heisman
Who did
Trophy.
he steal that one from?
He's, I think he stole that from I'm pretty sure Peyton Manning actually.
Yep, the one everyone's saying is the GOAT of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Took it from him. Impressive.
Yep.
That's not something you
I
do
mean,
easy.
he was and is the same corner he was in college as he was in the pros. He was a shutdown corner. Just it was an absolute joy to watch him play at the University of Michigan. I have fond memories because I used to watch him when I was a teenager, play. Obviously, when they won the national title in 1995, I was just just becoming a teenager. So, that was my team. And I've been a Michigan guy since. So, you know,
Yep.
so I mean, I gotta give Charles Woodson all the props. You know, that's a crazy career to have. He's won at every level. He's a Super Bowl champion. You know,
Hmm.
just wins everywhere he goes.
Yeah. I don't have much to say otherwise because I didn't get the time to know him. I can only base off what happened this season. And even
Right.
then, I think that's mostly been talked about with others. Like you've seen those interceptions he's picked off. It took him till now to pick off Peyton Manning. It felt like one of his last wishes had come true. He's like, I just want to pick off Peyton Manning at least once. He got it twice, I believe, nearly 3 times at one point. He got what he wished for. He has a ring. One, just getting one Super Bowl ring is a lot for some people. And like I said, I have
Yeah.
two. I had two wide receivers who I thought deserved rings. You know how many players I think in general that deserve rings. Don't make me list
I
off.
mean,
Don't make me list off like 3 Houston Texans players that I think deserve rings and some Cowboy players like Romo deserves a ring, Watt deserves a ring, but I won't get into that. But you get what I mean. There are players that deserve to get some type of recognition for that. That isn't just a simple award. Like, well, I wanted to make Charles Woodson the Defensive Player of the Year for me, be out of respect for what he's done, but I just couldn't find it in me to
right.
really do it. Not just because who I pick, who you know who it um, is I think was the most dominant force in the league. I thought it would have been very befitting if we had a comeback player of the year, I might have put him because he was not doing as well the past 2 seasons. It just went all out like a Steve Smith, all absolutely extinguish every bit of energy in the tank to create one last hurrah before you go.
Right.
So I mean at least this may not be much, but at least it might make up for it. So Megatron, Calvin Johnson, and Charles Woodson, welcome to the Football Talks Hall of Fame.
Yep.
All right, Bill. These two players, they will be there, and they will not be alone in the coming years. Probably, who knows? Bill, I'm pretty sure you like Peyton Manning. And if he retires, you can nominate him. I won't disagree. He can be in.
Uh,
He can be in the Football Talks Hall of Fame.
exactly.
One of the best pros we've ever seen. Because even I had to deal with him every damn year when he played Houston. But I'll disregard that. I'll disregard that. But
Yep.
but
I
anyway,
mean,
anyway, so the next thing I want to mention, this I don't know how long this will be. It shouldn't be too long. But Bill, I'm gonna quote Peyton Manning here. This was garbage then and it's garbage now. What am I talking about? That supposedly thing that him and a bunch of other star athletes. I wonder why it's only targeting star athletes in particular. First off, that they all did like steroids or performance enhancing drugs, whichever you want to call them, to better themselves at
yep.
their game. Some players include
Right.
Serena Williams, for example, and some like other ones in various other sports. But I wonder, Bill, why are you targeting only the players who are popular? Like, the ones that are considered the greatest at what they do. It's like you're trying to do it for attention or something. Bill, share your thoughts
I
on this. And here's the worst part: the NFL is churning this story up. That's what bothers me. It'd be one thing if it was just those idiots trying to get attention, but to top it all off, the NFL is investigating this and making it a deal. How do you feel,
and
Bill, about this? Because you know what I'm going to say,
all
but I
right.
want to hear your thoughts since you're Peyton's fan
Okay.
here. You're in Peyton's corner.
You
Go for it.
I'm just gonna put it this way. If you think he's using HGH, have you watched him throw wobbly duck footballs for the last 3 years? If he really truly used it, why isn't he throwing a tight spiral and have arm strength in that arm? The the answer is that he doesn't and he can't feel it. Now, how is that going to make him start feeling the football if his nerves are damaged in his throwing hand? It's not going to do anything. If you can't feel the football, then you can't put rotation on the football, which means you're not throwing a tight spiral, which means you're not throwing hard, which means you're going to be liable to be picked off, which means you have to throw it in the correct spot where there's timing with your receivers to get open. That's why he had so many touchdown passes, is incredible timing with his wide receivers.
Yep.
And there you go.
All right,
That
Bill. Well,
is
didn't finish.
that is why he is the greatest of all time, is because of his timing. It's not that he took some garbage in his body. It's not going to do anything for the wobbly duck throws he was throwing for the last 4 years.
All right, I'm gonna get into my side of why I'm upset with this, but I will be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I was already starting just when I got back. So, where do I begin? Bill had to shame the people who are making these accusations, and that's good. Someone had to do it here. So guess what I'm doing after? I'm going after the NFL themselves. They're doing it again, Bill. They're like little kids. They're like a little kid who always wants attention from their parents and everyone around them, just so they can have it. No real reason. You just want to stay relevant. You always want them to look at you, even when it's not your time and nobody's talking to you or listening to you. It's like, come on, look at me, listen to me, guys. I'm relevant right now. It's the Super Bowl. Come on, look at us all the time until the Super Bowl and even after. Because they're doing it again, Bill. The NFL is trying to launch an investigation to see if this is legit, and in the meanwhile are going to add coverage to that because it fuels more hype to Super Bowl 50. Instead of just saying, oh guys, it's Super Bowl 50, 50th anniversary of the Super Bowl, we're going to give the 50th trophy away. Nope. It's got to be, we got to talk about Peyton. Oh, what if Peyton's cheating? You want to find out if he's cheating? How about you watch the Super Bowl on Sunday and find out, and stick to us here on NFL Network to find out. Just, Jesus Christ, Bill, they're doing it again. They did it last year with Deflategate, which is the most bullshit accusation of cheating I've ever heard of. You've heard me get mad at people who hate the Patriots and just rejoice at their fall. Because, wow. They don't like them, but guess what? Your team cheats too. But you know what? I don't think Peyton's ever cheated. I don't think Peyton's a cheater. He's not the type to cheat. Like, we know the Patriots have cheated. I will admit, Spygate was real. That was real. We have actual... Unlike Deflategate, we actually have incriminating evidence that suggests that. I'll be the first to admit that, yes, Spygate was real. No way I'm denying that. You can call the Patriots cheaters for that, but guess what? Every team cheats. Look up your team cheats and tell me that your team does not cheat. But, oh god, I will not go on that segment, but just for this, yes, they're doing it again, a repeat of Deflategate. How has nobody caught on to this and just said, hey, I noticed you're trying to make some little drama thing a big deal out of nothing to get more attention. Whether it's before the Super Bowl or even postseason especially. And we're not done with this, Bill, because Deflategate's going to rise up again. I wanted Tom Brady to just come to the Super Bowl here, defeat Carolina or whoever the hell it was going to be, and then retire, because then what could you do? But now Peyton's going to get this shit, and he's probably going to retire anyway. I'm 95% certain he's going to retire. Bill, you're probably guaranteed, and I don't blame you. No one's surprised if that happens, but you know what? If they seriously try to, press charges against him, what are you going to do to him? Take his damn ring away? You have to prove that it happened then and there.
I guarantee that Tom Brady is going to not face that suspension.
I hope not. I really don't, because I want him to win the next one, just so he can get his final ring, because everyone's like, I don't want Tom Brady here. Okay, then let him win his final ring, be in a category of all of his own, and then he'll retire. He just wants one more. If the Giants didn't beat him, not talking about the first one, but the second one, they should have beat him the second time. But if they beat him then...
He would have already been out.
Yeah, he would have been out.
He would have already been out of the game.
No, just as Deflategate was happening, he's like, oh, I'm retiring, bitches. He would have retired, and then the NFL would have dropped the charges, because what could you do to a player that's, oh, we're going to suspend you 4 games for doing this. Oh, go ahead. I'm not even coming back. So, yeah.
Right.
Oh, Bill, I did have one more award to give away. And we're putting that one under worst organization, because it's going to top in worst fan base. You can't give a best, but I can give a worst. Bill?
Oh, yeah.
I'll let you put whoever you want there. I have my own. You could think about it. What?
I probably won't give that because I think, you know,
I'm just.
think about it.
I'll give you. Maybe I'll give you ideas. I'll have nominees that I have, and if you agree, you can put one that you want. But anyway, Bill. Speaking of awards, it's time we get to ours. It's time for our awards for this year, Bill. Are you ready?
Right.
All right, Bill. Start us off. What is our first? What is our
All right.
first award to give?
Ours is the Coach of the Year.
All right, I'll give mine. I'll actually, yeah, I'll give mine first. Then well, the next one you can give yours first. All right, so my coach of the year. It's the same guy from before. I have Bruce Arians. I mentioned it before. He's taken this team and made it elite. He's added a lot of depth, and the players love to play for this coach. And of course, let's not even. I know we kind of forgot about this, but he was the first one to hire a female coach. Well, she's not full time like Buffalo did and Rex Ryan and Buffalo Bills did just this past month. He did it first, and I think it reminded me a lot of when the Spurs did that right now recently with their own female coach. Which don't talk to me about the Spurs right now. Can't believe they lost to LeBron humiliatingly, by the way. Ugh. But anyway, I have Bruce Arians as my coach of the year because he's made that team so much better than it already was. Who's yours, Bill?
My coach of the year is Bill Belichick, and here's the reason is just because he's of what he's had to deal with through the entirety of the season. You know, I mean, seriously, you start off the year, you're facing an uncertain future. You don't know if your Hall of Fame quarterback's going to be suspended. So you have to get ready for the season with that uncertainty. That gets cleared up. You go on a tear. Then you start losing games at the end of the year. Your offensive line is in shambles. Your offense is missing key pieces all over the place. And you still make it to the AFC title game. I mean, you know, he just keeps doing it, you know, and I can't go against that, you know.
I respect
Bill
that.
Belichick.
It's fine. It's fine. So I have Arians, you have Belichick. I think that's good. They're plus they are the two best coaches in the league. You could argue Rivera. He's there too for this year. But to me, in general, for the past couple years, I will put Belichick and Arians because they're just amazing. But anyway, Bill,
Right,
who's your worst coach? I want to hear you first for this one.
Well, he's already been fired, but my worst coach of the year was Mike Penton. And here's the issue, is he drafted the kid in Manziel. Then you bench him and don't know how to use him. All right. They completely mismanaged and bungled Johnny Manziel to hell. You know, he was a terrifyingly bad coach. I mean, literally, they were a better team with Brian Hoyer there than they were this year without Manziel, and you got McCown starting at quarterback. Like I said, if you start a McCown at quarterback, I am picking against you. And they were starting a McCown at quarterback.
They were still trying to, even when he was too beat up to play.
Exactly. It was ridiculous.
It's sad, but Bill, I agree with you. In fact, he is also my coach of the year, worst coach of the year for life. But Bill, I'm going to add this. You like what you said, draft, you don't play him, and now you didn't want to give him enough time to get better, go past the rookie mistakes that every player tends to make, because we all make those. I don't care how good you are in a general thing or how much experience you have. You're still going to make mistakes. We get that. But when he does something you're not even sure he's doing, you get him, like, you bench him for as long as you can. And even when you have no choice but to play him, you just let him. You still find ways to not let him play. Like, oh, I'd rather play McCown, who's beat up and almost killed. Like one other tackle to the back, and he's gonna die, like instantly. You'll still play them over Manziel, and now Manziel's acting like an idiot again. But you need a team that will show that that they like him and appreciate him, and maybe he won't make those mistakes. I mean, still, what he does with his life, we can't really tell. But honestly, there have been players who actually party all the time and still did good. Do I need to give an example? A certain New York Jet who won the third Super Bowl. What's his name, Bill?
Broadway Joe Namath.
Yep, he did whatever the fuck he wanted, but all he did was win. You're not giving Manziel a chance to win. It's like, oh, you're not helping us win, Johnny Manziel. Oh, you're not even letting him play. So he's probably going to get cut, and Cleveland's going to draft either Jared Goff or actually there's a possibility, and this is happening right now, Bill. Carson Wentz is just climbing up the ladder, who would have been at first likely undrafted, but now
Yep.
He's tearing it up. I'll be right back. I have a phone call. Alright, I'm back. That was a weird phone call. I just hung it up because I didn't know who the fuck they were. They're trying to talk to me. So, I don't remember. I know what I was saying about Manziel and all that, but yeah, long story short, hope he goes to Dallas, and maybe Dallas will get his act together. Besides, Dallas is the home for drama queens anyway. Plus, they could just cut Greg Hardy, get him, and then their quarterback troubles might be solved. I have to say might because nothing's a guarantee here. But hey, at least he'll have more motivation because he's always wanted to play for Dallas. And he was hoping for Dallas to draft him anyway. But anyway, so next on the list, worst organization. Bill, I will let you go first on this.
All right, so I feel sorry for these fans. At least, my team has made the playoffs in the last 20 years. And I feel really bad for these guys because they're mismanaged to hell and back, and that is the Cleveland Browns. The ownership is stupid, the GM is stupid. Just overall, those poor fans in Cleveland deserve better than what they get from that team.
Yeah, but if you look at the other side of the fence, they have basketball, but then they have LeBron, who basically controls the franchise. Oh, we're #1 in the Eastern Conference, and we can't beat the Warriors and the Spurs. Well, they got their revenge on the Spurs, but okay, I don't want. How about you get rid of the head coach, or else I won't come back next year? I swear, LeBron is actually he's the real GM of the Cavaliers. So I'm like, which would you like? The team who's like, in a good spot, and yet they're not even happy? It's like, oh, unless we're going perfect so far, I don't like this. It's like, get the fuck over yourselves. But, that's just me because I don't like LeBron. Because, Michael Jordan's the best one that's ever lived. But anyway, enough of that.
Right.
My turn, Bill. I'm going to the West Coast. Going for the 49ers because they just got Jim Tomsula to be the scapegoat, blaming him for all his problems, so I thought, oh, he's a nice coach. Just when he's looking like, oh, I can turn things around, nope. Oh, I don't like you. You can't even turn us around. You can't get us a winning record. Why couldn't you do that? Hold on, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, I know Cleveland should be the worst organization too, but honestly, to me it's close between Cleveland and the 49ers, because the 49ers did a one and done with their coach, which I really hate when teams do that, especially when they are some of the least talented, because they were the least talented team above the Titans, because the Titans are the least talented, but they're the idiot organization. We have worst. Worst is different from stupid, because if I went stupid, I'd give it to the Titans, but to be fair, why would you want to go to the Titans where they're not only the least talented team, but their ownership is also stupid? But for the 49ers are one of those privileged teams too, who had like a somewhat of a dynasty because they had Jerry Rice and Montana, and now if we're not playing like New England Patriots level, I want you out. You don't deserve to be here. It's like, no, you're not going to give your coaches enough time, because I like what Bill O'Brien said, because he did make a comment on one of his final radio shows. he said that he thinks a coach should at least have 5 years because you can't. You need time to really turn a franchise around and make it to your own, and also have time for the players to start to show, especially the young players. And I agree with that. But sometimes owners, when they're little shits like the 49ers one, they're so impatient. And sometimes their fan base too, which we're going to get to the worst fan base, but it's not the 49ers this year because they were so bad, I kind of pitied them along with the Ravens, but so basically,
Right.
I would have given it to the Browns too, Bill, but one, I liked if we have some different awards here and there. But the Browns always do this. It feels like such a trend. The 49ers, this is the first time they've done it in a while, and considering they just ditched Harbaugh, which, shame on them. Bill, you're not complaining at all. You're happy. You're happy with that.
I'm I'm very happy with that.
Yep, who's got it better than us? Michigan does. College Michigan does, but anyway. Alright, Bill, worst fan base. I know you don't have one because this was just sudden. I should have brought it upon you sooner. But anyway, here are the nominees for them. The Seattle Seahawks fan base. The Carolina Panthers one, just for this year. This is for this year. This isn't for a return, like for a recurring trend or anything. Or the Dallas Cowboys is another one. But none of them. None of them. You know why? We're not going to the NFC teams. We're going to the AFC side. I'm talking the Denver Broncos, Bill. You want to know why?
Oh, jeez.
This is more recent because of what they did now, or within the past couple weeks. And the Bengals were also one, but you know what? It was more the players being little shits, surprisingly, than the fan base. Remember when the Steelers lost? Like, oh, all was right in the world, with all, 200 emojis after that sentence on Twitter?
Right.
It's not, but that's
Yeah.
players. That's not, that's not,
Right.
that's different. So the reason why I go with the Broncos is because at one point, at the beginning, they were saying, "Oh, we're going to be going to the Super Bowl." Which, yeah, they were right. We're not dissing the team here. I'm not dissing the team here. Let's make that clear. Because Denver, considering what they had to work with at quarterback, and they've kind of earned their spot. They've earned their spot. But the fan base was like, "Oh, how dare you disrespect my team?" This is where they go after the NFL media analysts, and yeah, shame them when they're wrong. But this is the weird shit I've read from them. How dare you disrespect Peyton? How dare you disrespect? By disrespect, they say, "Oh, he won't win a playoff game." Okay, then we're not actually doing anything severe, like actually insulting him. How dare you disrespect my favorite team? I hope you quit, and I hope you die. I mean, fan bases do this all the time, but this felt a little more special. And you know when this was being said? Not before the game, but after the game. When they beat the Patriots, instead of it's like, "Hooray, we're going to the Super Bowl," no, let's go find those people who mocked us and doubted us. It just said, "Oh, how dare you disrespect my team? How about you quit your job and hit everything and go and die?" What the fuck is wrong with you? I would be ecstatic if my team was going to the Super Bowl. I'd be like, "Oh, fuck them. They're wrong. Okay. I just want to go find fellow fans and celebrate and get ready for the next Super Bowl." Right, Bill? Wouldn't you do that?
I I I would probably, just dig out my eyeballs and say that I've seen everything now that the Lions actually make a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I'm saying, you would not. Would you go out of your way just to find those people, specific NFL media analysts, and call them out and tell them that they should die?
I would never do things like that.
Yeah, I don't want to be like that either. But it takes a special type of bad fan base to do that. And that's part of the reason why I'm going Carolina, because, and that's not even the end of it. The Broncos Twitter themselves was actually going after these guys too. It's one thing when the fan base does it, but when the Twitter, the media team, the franchise itself encourages this, which in turn creates more of this shit happening, like a snowball effect. They're pushing the snowball to make it bigger, and it makes it worse for me, and that's what annoys me. It's bad enough that they have to call them to go after these guys and do it, Because yeah, I disagree with them, and sometimes I think they're full of shit too. But I'm not gonna wish for them to die and want to humiliate them at any chance I get. Especially when you are when you're an official Broncos account, and that means you have hundreds of thousands, if not over a million followers to see this and just join in at any time. I find that unacceptable. So to me, worst fan base, the Broncos. You deserve it this year. If I had to pick other years, it would have been Seattle for sure. But no, it's got to be Denver. Just because of that attitude is just so... That's sad. It feels like a... If I'll be honest, Bill, and I mean no offense to you, I would expect this from the Lions or some team that's been sore losers sometimes. But to come from a franchise that's won a couple Super Bowls and has been to title games and in the playoffs very often in the past couple decades, to them to be acting like they never have won anything in their lives, Jesus fucking Christ. I expect this from the Lions or the Browns, but not the Broncos. Ugh. Anyway, hope that didn't bother you, Bill, with the comparison to the Lions, but
To be fair, the Lions fans, even after we got absolutely screwed out of a game, never once were super nasty. You know,
it's like you're numb to it. You're used to it.
We were we were more furious at the refs than anything.
Yep.
Towards any group of people.
Yeah. Anyway,
but
of course they would go after fans too. To be fair, fans always fight each other. That's uncommon. That's why I don't mention it because everyone's doing that. But anyway, now we're gonna get to the big stuff. Offensive
rookie.
I will let you go first, Bill. Who do you got?
All right, so my offensive rookie of the year is obviously Todd Gurley. Of the now Los Angeles Rams.
Can't wait.
Just downhill runner, brutal, mean, nasty. He's going to be great for the next 10, 15 years,
I'll be honest, Bill. If he was able to play the full season, remember he had to miss 5 games. If he played the full season, he would have crushed Adrian Peterson's title of best rusher this year. He would have, I guarantee you. He wasn't even that far. He was only 100 yards behind him. That's because he played 5 games less than Peterson. So I guarantee you, come next season, we have a new all-pro running back. Anyway, for me, I just changed it because I thought about it more and I think it makes sense. As much as I wanted to put Amari Cooper here, he did great at the beginning but didn't do much towards the end, especially when he had to fight a leg injury or something. So I'm gonna go with the one I think that makes sense too at the same time, given the state of his franchise. I'm talking Jameis Winston for the first overall pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. While yes, you could say looking at their record, it's like, oh, it was still a losing record, but hey, they were actually at a point where they could have made a case for a playoff spot had they won a couple more of their games. But they just fizzled out at the wrong time. They failed. They started to lose to like the Rams and stuff, which I called that one. I called that Rams win because I believe in Case Keenum. I'm a Case Keenum fan, Bill.
Yep.
So Case Keenum, Todd Gurley will make a dangerous combination, or so I hope. But anyway, he turned a 2-14 team to win like 6 or 7 games. It was still a losing record, but it was around there. And you made other talent emerge like Doug Martin, and of course Mike Evans had a phenomenal year. But this was because he has a quarterback to throw to him now, and I expect Mike Evans to start, being part of the top 10 list of wide receivers in the coming years. And I don't know about now because you still have to deal with other people like, Megatron's now out, so that leaves a spot open, but Hopkins already took that spot. But, he'll make the list. He'll start making the list in the coming years of top 10 wide receivers of future seasons.
Right.
Anyway, Defensive Rookie of the Year.
And basically, I'm going to let you talk about this guy because we both have him.
Yep.
So.
All right, Bill. Defensive Rookie of the Year is Marcus Peters because, honestly, out of all the defensive players that went in the draft, he was the most talked about one, the most impactful from the beginning. I would have
Yeah.
loved to put Kevin Johnson. He only had one interception to his name. He did make some key blocks, but also he was also responsible for some horrible losses, like the Patriots one. But that's not the fault. That's not his fault. I think it was the Patriots one that they lost to because it was just Tom Brady was just targeting whoever he was watching over, and he eventually got benched for someone who was more like a veteran, which I understand because
Yep.
good quarterbacks will target the weakest link all the time,
Oh yeah.
whether their best player is on there or their least best, for to make it not sound insulting. But Marcus Peters was doing shit like this from the get-go. He picked off Peyton Manning. He picked off almost everybody. I think he picked off Brian Hoyer, of course, but that's because Brian Hoyer is a terrible quarterback. Why would you still have him, Houston? Get him out of there. I just want to get that shot in right now while I still can. I expect him to become a force. I don't know if he'll be as good as Richard Sherman, but if he keeps this pace, he'll definitely be in the discussion against Richard Sherman, and Patrick Peterson as best cornerback out there. But he's young, he's gonna grow. Anyway,
Right.
Bill, the next one, if you please.
And that is the Defensive Player of the Year.
All right, Bill. Should I talk about this one first, or would you?
Uh, I mean, if you want to go ahead, go ahead.
It's clear as day who has this. Like I said, I wanted Charles Woodson to get this out of respect, but hey, that's what the Hall of Fame was for, to make up for that. So I have to put who is logically, reasonably the best one, the most disruptive one, J.J. Watt, doing great. He did not have a greatest season as he did last year, in my opinion. He could have almost gone for 20 sacks had he not missed a couple of games, or not missed a game. I think he missed one game, or he also had the club. The club on his hand did not help. See another example, JPP, and why he's not likely going back to the Giants, maybe. But I will say, I really wanted Watt to become the MVP of the last season because I just knew if he didn't get it now, I don't think he'll have another chance unless, Houston has a star quarterback to lead them, and just that will in turn help the defense play better. But
Right.
I think it's clear as day when this guy gets sacks, he causes turnovers, whether he picks them off himself or helps other players do it for him. Like see the last regular season game when he did a strip sack on Blake Bortles and Whitney Merciless just caught the ball in the air. It's like, whoop, thank you. But all right, Bill,
Yep.
who's your defensive player of the year?
My Defensive Player of the Year is Luke Kuechly, and I'm not gonna disagree with anything that you said because obviously Watt is right there. I just think and Kuechly means so much to that Panthers defense, and if he wasn't there, I don't even think they're a Super Bowl defense. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team. So, I just have Kuechly because Kuechly's the man.
I don't disagree with that. He is great because if it wasn't for Watt being around, Kuechly would get it, hands down.
Yep.
But Bill, now it's time for the next award. We've got two more left.
Offensive Player of the Year.
All right, Bill, who do you have?
All right, this one might come as a surprise, might not. I have Tyler Eifert of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow.
As Offensive Player of the
I was
Year.
expecting you to maybe
And-
pick Gronk or Megatron, out of respect for Megatron.
And here's the reason why is Eifert was on a pace to be. He's the young. Gronk is young too, but him and Gronk are going to be the two big monsters of a tight end that you have to, fight against.
He was actually on
And
pace to
it's
set a
going to be
record.
very-
You were onto something, Bill.
Yeah,
But then he got hurt around sometime after the Texans game. It was after they lost to the Texans. He got injured sometime after that, and then he just wasn't the same, or he couldn't play for a while. And when he did have to come play, he didn't do what he did, at the beginning of the year.
yeah. Eifert is my Offensive Player of the Year. Just way too dominant.
Here's one for me, and I'm so glad this guy's getting some attention. The Kawhi Leonard of football DeAndre Hopkins. And I'm not just saying that because they both have huge hands. They can make all kinds of plays. I make this comparison a lot, but I don't think I'm wrong. I really don't think I'm wrong here. Hopkins, with Andre Johnson out the door to the Colts because he wanted a ring, he's like, oh, I want to go to the winning team. Ha! Say that again. Tell me that the Colts are a winning team. They're not a winning team. Get them out of here. But no, Hopkins stepped up, was the one bright spot in an otherwise ugly offense led by Brian Hoyer. No, this was the one bright spot, and my only reason to be hopeful for the Houston offense next year. But this is where I say, this guy got 100-yard games with 4 different quarterbacks, and he's getting similar stats to Randy Moss when he was young and upcoming. And that's saying a lot. I'm not saying he's Randy Moss. I would think maybe at best he's 3/4 of Randy Moss, just like the records show. But even then, 3/4 of Randy Moss's talent is amazing to have. So Hopkins is clear as day the best wide receiver. But if he just gets a quarterback, a star quarterback, who knows when to throw to him and get him in the right spot, not overthrow, underthrow, mess it up, because Hopkins has the hands to catch. He could even catch it with his helmet. I'm telling you, Bill, he gets the quarterback, Houston will be a Super Bowl team. Everything else in their offense, they could work with. They could work around with and make it a solid offense.
Yep.
They just need a quarterback that complements them and does not make many mistakes, like a certain Brian Hoyer. Get that guy out of here! Seriously, I want him out. But anyway, let's move on to overall MVP. Who do you have, Bill? I think we both have the same person, but I want to hear.
Yeah, I can't fight against this pick. It's Cam Newton. He's just overall a 15-1 football team, and he's the leader of it. He did it all this year. He had one of his best statistical seasons.
The franchise has had their best statistical season too.
Exactly. I mean, overall, he put up big numbers, and in the playoffs, he led them through some really tough games. They were up big, and they almost got caught up too by Seattle.
And even before that, they almost let the Giants come up and beat them. They could have been 14-2, and the Cardinals would have been hosting them, and it might not have been the same game if that happened.
Yep. I mean, overall, a 15-1 football team. And the quarterback. It's almost and really no wide receiving options to speak of, minus Greg Olsen. You gotta give it to Cam. I don't see how you can't.
Yeah. I have to. If the Cardinals have won, even if it was ugly, I would have given it to Carson Palmer. But after how bad he played, as bad if not worse than Hoyer, and that's a hard thing to do, Bill. That's a hard thing to do, and I think it might have been just the jitters. I don't think it was his injury to his hand. I'm just getting the Carson Palmer honorable mention out of the way for me because I really wanted him to take it. Because I would like Tom Brady to get it too, but no. I mean, it's got to go to Cam. Carson, I think now he had to have had his jitters out of the way now since he lost the game. Maybe when he comes next season, maybe he will be that same guy again and be my MVP next year because I really want him to get it. I want him to get a ring for Larry Fitzgerald. But I got to go Cam for the same reason. Also, he's having so much fun. Do you not, Bill, a Seattle fan 2 weeks ago sent an open letter to Carolina about how he's disrespectful. Oh, I guess I should say that Richard Sherman is the most respectful player for his comments. Not that I disagree with what he said after they beat the 49ers to go to their Super Bowl that they won. You remember that speech, Bill? I think we talked about it before.
Oh yeah.
Like that wasn't disrespectful. I'm not saying Richard Sherman's a dirty player or nothing. I think he's a great player, but that wasn't disrespectful. Or how about Michael Bennett, who I think is one of the weirdest. He's talented, don't get me wrong, but I think he's kind of an idiot. I hate Matthew Stafford. He's from Texas and from Dallas, and Dallas killed JFK, and I hold it against him. What? Yeah. Tell me that your Seattle team is full of respectful players. Honestly, one of the few nice guys there that I can think of is probably Russell Wilson, and that's about it.
Yep.
Your team has the mentality of that rough team that will get you, insult you when you're down, and wants you to get up so they can knock you on your ass again. They're the bully, but then they just got out-bullied by the other team. It's like, no, I don't want that. I'm tired of that shit. Because remember, they used to bully the Panthers and Cam Newton, but now Cam has just got his revenge 2 times over this season. But Cam's having a lot of fun. I'm tired. I don't like when people are disrespecting him for that. He's having a lot of fun. You see him all smiling, giving kids the football. He's even telling the players that catch the ball to give the football to little kids if they see one. He's being a nice guy, and plus the dab, it's going to be overdone because I'm hearing it in other sports now. Do you know how many times I've heard the dab done in basketball now? Not in the Spurs games, but in other games and shit like that. He's created a trend. He's not changing the game per se. He's changing the fans, if that's possible. In a good way, I think, because the dab isn't a bad thing. I mean, the only thing it's bad is creating this weird meme with a guy dressed up as Squidward. I'm pretty sure you've seen those pictures, Bill. I don't know. People can look it up. They've probably seen it too. That's the weirdest thing it's done. But other than that, it's been a nice thing. So I gave it a Cam for not just because he's won the game or he's winning the games he's in and winning them well. He's also changing fans around him, not just his fans, but fans from other sports and all that. That's a hard thing to do, Bill.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, we have all of our awards given out. We've added 2 people, our first 2 people to the Football Talks Hall of Fame. All that's left is the final picks, Bill. Our last pick for Super Bowl 50.
Final. Oh man.
All right, Bill. What do you got to say? You got to give me your final thoughts on this.
Right. This is going to come down to, I think, motivation of the Denver Broncos wanting to win this football game to send Peyton Manning off into retirement as a winning Super Bowl quarterback. And I just feel like the Broncos are going to come out very motivated and very much wanting to assert themselves on defense. So I feel like the Denver Broncos are going to come out, and this could be a classic Super Bowl. This could be a classic Super Bowl.
I hope so, in honor of Super Bowl 50, but Bill, it's going to be hard to take that away from Super Bowl 49. That's my favorite game that I've ever seen.
I feel like a overtime Super Bowl is going to happen, and I really feel this is going to be the overtime Super Bowl where it's going to happen. It's going to be like 14-14 going into overtime, and Peyton Manning drives down the field and gets him a touchdown and wins the game. And that's how he's remembered, and that's how he's gonna go out.
You've been hoping for a overtime gun since last year, and that would have been fun, but it didn't happen.
I want to see an overtime Super Bowl in my lifetime. It hasn't happened yet.
Oh, I would like that too. Bill, I kind of want that. Finish what you're saying.
There's never been a Super Bowl that has been in overtime.
I would like that to happen in a Houston-Dallas Super Bowl, Texas showdown. Go overtime, be ugly, be fun, especially for whoever wins, because whoever won that Super Bowl would have bragging rights and call themselves the king of Texas sports, or Texas football. But anyway, for this game in particular, to me, I think about this, and I see some things worth noting. Denver's offense has never been, consistently good, and the only one game where they really dominated was against the Packers. But I was hoping for that, and I told you guys that Packers offense, if it's capped, the defense will do nothing. It will just lay there, and that's what happened. But Denver has the best defense in football. Carolina has arguably the second best. I think they have the second best. So you have the top 2-3 defenses going at it against each other. But what to me decides it is Carolina's offense. I think it's obviously miles better. It is the best. It's one of the best. Also top 5 offense, because Carolina's defense, number 2, just absolutely bottled the best offense in Arizona. But Carolina's offense will do enough to keep a nice lead over Denver. And what did I say? If Peyton has to play from behind, that's when he makes the mistakes. They beat the Patriots because the Patriots could not get ahead. Had the Patriots got ahead, I can assure you Peyton would have made a mistake and probably threw an interception. But that will be the ultimate test for Peyton. Can he overcome a deficit? I don't care by how much. Can he overcome a deficit? If he does, he'll win the Super Bowl, but I don't think he will. So I'm going to go with the Panthers. This has been the Panthers' year, Bill. The NFC is going to be ugly to be in because you have to deal with not only the Seattle Seahawks, the bully of the NFL, but also Carolina, up-and-coming offense and defensive. How would I put it? Great offense and great defense. That just sounds like a dynasty in the making, because Seattle had an okay offense when they won their Super Bowl. But now they have a good one because Russell Wilson's shaped up, but now Cam Newton's shaped up. So I'm going to go with Cam Newton and his Panthers to win this one and take it home. But this will be interesting, Bill. I'm kind of glad that we both have a team we're siding with, because in that way we're both highlighting why they both should win. Like last year, we both just were on the Patriot side, because the Patriot way, Bill, you do your job.
Yep.
But who will do their job here? There's only one way to know, because we can't even predict. For all we know, we both could be wrong, and it could be like a high-scoring game where the defenses don't show up at all because they dissect them so well. But who knows? I don't know. You don't know. But Bill, I can't wait. It has been a great season, Bill, and I hope we can record another season sometime.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, have anything else to say? Do you?
Nope. I think I'm good.
All right then. We will see you guys next time for the finale of the 2015-2016 football season, and we will recap Super Bowl 50 and really, if we can, any other plays that will stick with us for the end of the season and also in the future. But anyway, I think that'll do it. We will see you guys next week.